The Vivosun H19 Intelligent Humidifier is by far the highest capacity humidifier I have ever looked at, and also the most feature-rich. Getting this unit out of the box is pretty straightforward, but there are a couple of things to watch out for. The most important thing to realize is that the unit has two major pieces, and when you try to pull the unit out from the top, make sure that you either grab the integrated handles on the bottom part of the unit so that you can pull it all out at once, or to only grab the top section and pull that out on its own. What I did was a weird mix-up of the two, which ended with the bottom half only coming part way out, and then falling back into the bottom of the box. Nothing was damaged, but it is something to watch out for. The bottom section of the H19 is the water tank, and Vivosun has tucked all of the accessories for this unit inside of there for transport, which makes sense as it would otherwise just be empty space. Inside of the tank you will find the 5-way splitter head, the instruction manual is in there in its own bag to keep it safe, and then there is the hard plastic standpipe. Next up is the humidity/temp sensor that you will need to plug into the unit, along with the single direction exhaust head. Finally, there is the long, collapsible, flexible hose that you can use to run the humidified air into a tent from the outside. With the tank emptied, we can now take a look at the business part of the H19. The first thing you want to do is remove the packing foam from the pickup filter that they use to protect it in shipping, as you want this to sink in the water tank, not float. After that, I went ahead and took the bag off of the power cord as well, and then it was time to put the head onto the tank. You just want to make sure that the pickup filter doesn't get pinched as you are connecting the two parts, as that will keep the unit from working. You could fill up the tank with water before putting it together, but as we will see later, you can also fill it up when they are attached. On the back side of the unit, you can see the bump out for the power plug, and that is also where we will be connecting the humidity/temp sensor, and next to that there is an air intake with a foam filter. You may need to clean this from time to time depending on how dusty your environment is, but it pops out easily for cleaning, and you just need to be aware of where it is located for now. On the top of the unit at the back you can see there is a flip-up door, and this is where you will add water to the unit when you need to initially fill the tank or refill it after use. Flipping back around to the front, you can see that they have taped the quick start guide over the controls, and this will show you how to get the unit up and going once you plug it in, which is a really nice touch as you don't have to go looking in the instruction manual. The first thing I'm going to do before turning the H19 on for the first time is to install the various attachments to the top, just to try them out. You could run the unit without any of these attachments, but you will wind up with a lot of humidity directly on the unit itself, which is probably not the best idea for long-term operation. If you are going to be using the humidifier directly inside of a grow tent, you will probably want to be using the standpipe, and if you are running it outside of the tent, you will need to use the extendable flexible hose. Next up, I need to add water to the unit, and as the name implies, it is going to take 19 liters, or just under 5 gallons of water to fill it to the max line. There is a window on the front of the tank that will show you when it is getting low on water, but it doesn't go all the way to the bottom of the tank. What I found is that the bottom of the check window is actually at about half full, and then goes up to the max fill line. I double-checked at the halfway point just to make sure that is what was actually happening, as it did feel a little weird to have put 3 gallons into the unit and not seen any indication that I was filling it in the window. Eventually it was full though, which means that it is time to get this thing going. I went ahead and set it back up with the plastic standpipe and the single outlet head, as I just wanted to see how well it works. When you first plug the unit in, it will be in manual mode, so just hit the power button to turn it on, and use the up and down arrows to control how much mist is going to be pumped out of the H19. I went ahead and cranked it all the way up, and this unit is just putting out a ton of vapor, which is great to see, and it does it almost silently. I then decided to try out the 5-way splitter head, and as expected, it split the vapor up into all directions at once. Looking at the heads close up, you can see the difference between them pretty easy, and even though it is pretty windy out here right now, you can see just how much vapor this unit is capable of outputting. I like how large the diameter of the exit pipe is versus the other units I have looked at before, as it really allows a larger volume of vapor to be produced very quietly, which is pretty important to me personally. Finally, though, you can see what the vapor looks like without any head on the standpipe at all, and you could use it like this as well if you needed to. Finally, I am going to hook up the flexible hose just to see what the output looks like with this extension. It is pretty crazy just how long this hose is when it is fully extended, and you still get a lot of vapor out of the end. One thing that you need to remember if you are using the hose like this is that you do not want to create a U-shape with the hose, where you end up with a valley between the unit and the end of the hose. There is always going to be some of the vapor that condenses inside of the hose itself, and that water needs to be able to drain either back into the unit to be vaporized again, or to come out of the far end. It would take a long time, but eventually the pipe would fill with the condensed liquid, and you would end up with a real mess on your hands, so just watch out for that, and follow the instructions and examples that they show in the instruction manual to avoid any of those issues. Now, let's take a look at the controls on the unit itself. You can see that the arrows on the panel will let you choose between 5 levels of vapor output in manual mode, with level 1 being the least and 5 being the most, which is pretty obvious. For those that are power conscious, I did test how much the unit is using, and it varies between 30 watts at level 1 all the way up to 95 watts at level 5. You can switch between the different modes by holding the checkmark icon under the power button, which will let you set it on a timer or to be automatically controlled to hit a certain humidity target. This is all pretty simple, and the instruction manual goes over all the settings on how to change all of this to fit your situation exactly. This unit can also be controlled by the Vivosun app that you can install on your phone, or with their SGS controller system. I am not going to cover that in this video, however, as we are going to have a big video in the future covering how to connect all of their gear into the app or SGS controller, and I want to do that all at once just to show off how versatile that system is. If you do need that functionality, however, the instruction manual will walk you through it, and it is a really great addition as using their app is a really simple way of controlling the H19 without having to get into the tent to touch it. A big thank you to Vivosun for sending over the H19 humidifier for us to check out. And if you want to try out any of their gear for yourself, make sure to click on our links to their website in the description down below and use the discount code GEEKS at checkout to get an additional 15% off of your entire order.